Good afternoon, everybody. Master Ali Gafour here, CEO and founder of 2020 Armor. You might notice I'm missing somebody. Our athlete investor, Yvette Young, is at home in Vancouver. So we're not going to have her join us this week, but that's okay because the stuff that we're going to talk about today is stuff that I know very intimately. Obviously, being founder of 2020 Armor, is what do I do with the vests when I get them? It's a common question that gets asked. We know people say, oh, it's very easy to use, but how do I really maximize it for myself? If you're training at home, high performance, or if you're a coach and you have an athlete that you're training. So that's what we're going to cover today. What do I do with the vest after I get it in this beautiful, cool box that gets shipped to you in? Once you open it up, what is it that you exactly do? So that's what we're going to cover today. So if you are already an existing user of 2020 Armor, this will be a refresher. It might show you some things that you don't know already. So please continue watching for that. And if you've never had it, 2020 Armor, or you're thinking about getting it, this is a good first video to watch to figure out just kind of how to use everything. Okay, I'll go through everything from basically getting started, how to establish a baseline, what that even means. Then from the baseline of some of the physical stuff, how to do some tactical analysis. Once you have some of that information, then what do you actually do? So once you're able to know some things, because what gets measured gets improved. If that's not clear, that's what that says there. That's a mantra that we believe is very, very, very strong in both business and sports. Because if you don't know what the data is, then you don't know if you're improving. So once you actually know the data, then we show you how to improve it. Okay, so I'll point you some resources that will always be updating all the time. And and that should answer this question of what is it that I do. Okay, so I forgot to share the stream on my Facebook, so please give me a second while I do that. And it's gonna be a nice little fun class today. I'm excited to share. I sometimes get certain details of how to use everything. I sometimes, because I'm in it all the time, forget that there's some things that we take for granted when we create the thing, because it's always in our heads. But I'm going to take away all those assumptions and start fresh for you guys. And kind of get into your heads as to when you first get the box, what does it actually do? Clearly not as articulate when I am trying to share something at the same time. Okay, it won't take me that long to do it. Get ready. All right. Cool. It is shared. All right. Now, let's get started. Okay. Oh, hello, Mrs. Young. Nice to see you. I think you have our Yvette today. She is with you. Unless this is Yvette and you're watching it on your mom's phone, which is also fun. Okay. So step one. What is it that you actually do? Again, when you get the box, you open it up. What should you do? So written on the box, right? Printed on the front, is a website that says 2020armor.com/start. You definitely want to go there first, okay? I'll show you what that page looks like and why it's important, okay? Here you go, 2020armor.com/start. You get a couple of things here which is important. One, you get a video, a little tutorial of how all the buttons work and everything. So, if you're a visual learner, that will walk you through all that. There's a PDF download, so if you click on that of all the buttons, there's 4 of them, and what they all mean and what they all do, okay? So it's just a 2-page document, but it's just a nice way of referencing, again, what the buttons do, but also, when you're playing 2-player games, how to sync up. It shows you that as well, okay? So you definitely want to get comfortable with the buttons as a start. On the link here, this third link here is a poster, so that's this one right here. This is an important thing, an important poster to have on your club somewhere, in your change room, in your main training area. It's just a quick reference to all the games, what they do, and they're actually linked to the games that are all here. So energy scoring, you go to 2020.com/game1. That's actually written right on there, so your students or your teachers can go on the phone, look at the video, and if they forget, they can just get a quick little tutorial on how that works. So again, highly recommend putting that up as many places as you can. The quick reference card is like a little postcard. So if you wanted to put something in your pocket, okay, that you can just pull out in class and just have the same games and the names and descriptions of what they do, so you can just pull that out, and that will help you, again, if you forget what all the games are about, remind you to do that, okay? So again, I'm still on the 2020.com/start page. For those joining, again, just now, what we're covering is what do I do when you first get this cool little box, okay? Going through the steps of basically how to use it, establishing a baseline, doing some tactical analysis, and then once you have an understanding what's going on, how to actually address them, okay? So, so right now I'm on the start page, okay? So I went over the poster, then the 10 different game modes. So those links, that I have on the poster, they're all here as well. So all the 10 different game modes and what they actually do, and there's videos describing them, okay? So that goes over on this link here. I'll get into the drills in a second. Health settings. So we have a lot of people asking us, what are the different health settings that, so when I play, like when you play game 2, it says, what's your health setting? And what does the name of health setting mean? Well, if I was an Olympic male heavyweight black belt, I would not have the same health setting as a female thinweight black belt. So you each have different health settings. And so what we did was we took all the standard weight divisions for Taekwondo and gave you what the health settings are. Okay, so when you click on that link, if you're, it gives you an online document. So if you're a 6-year-old, you put on health level 1. So there's 10 health settings for 2020 armor from 1 to 10. Okay, and you can reference if you're Olympic male division 1, you'd be on health setting 5. Okay. So that's what the health settings are all about, and if you don't know what yours are, you can have a reference here. It goes, if you're junior Olympic male, junior Olympic female, junior male, female, cadet, okay, all the divisions that are possibly there, we have the health setting for you, okay? So that's a question that also commonly gets asked, is which health setting do I put? Then, lastly, and very importantly, download the app. Okay, so the vest works without an app. It doesn't need to be connected to it. So if you're in a club or a Taekwondo club, not a disco club, you could wear it at a disco club. The lights are pretty cool. Done that before. I didn't actually go to a club. There was a martial art event and there was a party and we wore it. It was kind of fun. But anyway, sidetrack. So if you're in a dojo and you just want to play some quick games, lots of people, you don't have time to set up with the phone, the vest is set up to do that. But again, if you're training at home, high performance, or if you're a coach and you really want to see your data and your numbers, then the app is something that's really going to help you understand what that all means. Okay, so to download it, you just again go to. We're still on the getting started page, right? So everything's there. You download the mobile app. That'll take you to a page where you can get it on for Google, Android devices, or Apple devices. So it works on both. Okay. Once you open up the app, it's very simple to use. Just start playing around with it. Connect it to your vest. Play some of the games. Just get comfortable with it. The best way. You're not going to be able to break it. Don't worry about that. The best way to get comfortable with things is just use it. Okay. So that's kind of the basics on getting started. Okay. So once you have all those things, or you know where all those things are. So you might not remember it. You can always just go to 2020.com/start to remind yourself. But that's kind of just basically, again, how to use this thing. Okay, so once you've gotten that out of the way, now let's get into some of the interesting things about setting a baseline. So what does a baseline actually even mean? So, you know, in our sport, in martial arts, we're not used to measuring things often. It's a foreign concept, and so you know, what we've created is it's something that makes that a little bit more normal. And so when you're measuring things, you need to start a baseline, so start where you are. And so there's a couple of things we can do baselines for. So reaction time, power, stamina are some of the three metrics that we track. And so the best way to do that is pick a kick that you throw the most often. Could be roundhouse kick, cut kick, probably one of those two. And for 1 month, every day, play the reaction game, the power game, the stamina game. Okay? Again, every day for 1 minute at the same time, and just start measuring those stats. Okay? You don't have to get overly complex. You can just start measuring the basics. So again, if you open up the app here, there's the reflex game, the reaction game, the stamina game, the power game. Okay? Just play those games. Record yourself. 1 minute. Start the game, and then it'll start measuring it for you. It'll save the data on the phone, and then it will. You'll be able to analyze it later. Okay. The important thing is just start measuring. Okay. You might get it wrong the first couple times. That's okay. Then you'll start getting comfortable with it, and that's just natural. Okay. So again, it's important to do. The more data points you have, the better, because then you can start seeing trends over time. So maybe a Sunday is not as good for you as a Monday, for example, right? Or the evening is not as good as the morning. So the more you can do, the minimum I think you should do is once a day for a month, for 1 minute. Again, it's not very hard to do. They're 1 minute training sessions. But it's important to be consistent. Pick the sitting time in the day to do it, and also use the same punching bag. So if you're using a Bob or a Weight Master, always do it on the same kicking target, because if you change the target holder, if let's say you get someone to hold it, which I don't recommend you do because people move, then you're not going to get as accurate numbers to be able to compare against. Okay, so use the same punching bag. I think a Bob or a Weight Master works the best, and I'll suggest to get one of those. Okay, when you play the games, when you finish a game, what you can actually do on the app is write your notes. Okay, so you play a game, all the data is on, gets collected, and then when the game finishes, there's a box that comes up that says notes. Okay, in that box, put down as much information as you can. It's just an open text box. Just say, what kick you did, how you felt that day, what you ate, how you slept. All these things can affect performance. And once you start actually writing it down, kind of like a diary, then you'll again be able to start seeing trends. Because now you'll be able to write down kind of how you felt that day, or how you slept, or how you ate. Then you can correlate that to your kicks. So then you can say, hey, when I slept really well, my reaction time was good, or my power was good, or my stamina was good, or it wasn't, right? And so, or if you think there's a culprit, right? If you think coffee maybe is something that makes you perform better or worse, write that down and then start measuring it, and then you can actually confirm if that's the case or not, right? Again, what gets measured gets improved. You can have some assumptions, and if you know this stuff, if you know that these are the things that are triggers for you to, again, that increase performance or decreases performance, then that's an insight that you know that you never knew before that can again be that little bit of a difference to determine a win or not, right? Okay, so establishing a baseline is key, and what you'll see over a month, once you start measuring yourself, you'll start seeing trends reveal themselves. Okay, you'll start seeing things like your left leg versus your right leg. You'll start seeing, in terms of reaction time, your right leg is faster than your left leg, for example. And you may or may not have known that, right? Or you may know that, but you might probably did not know by how much, right? And these are important things, again, to start knowing about yourself, because when you know yourself, that becomes very, very powerful when it comes to combat, because the more you know yourself, the better the chances you are of coming out on top, both your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay? So that's step 2 is establishing a baseline. Okay? So I gave you a very simple way of starting doing that for a month. Then after that month, then you'll start finding different ways that you want to establish that based on yourself. You start feeling more comfortable. Like, okay, maybe, increase my measurements or decrease my measurements, or start doing back kicks and add more kicks and stuff like that. So if you have a coach, you can do that with them. If you're training by yourself, again, I'll put some resources there that I can help you with that as well. But that baseline is key to start. Okay? Now, while you measure those physical attributes, now, as we know in combat sports, it's not just about speed, power, reaction time. Tactical and strategy is a big part of it as well. So how can we help you with that? How can 2020 Armor help you with your tactical? Well, I'll tell you exactly how. Okay? So during that month where you're establishing your baseline, if you have a training partner, so I know right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and some people, depending on where you are, have access to sparring partners or don't. But if you do, get a sparring partner and then start sparring. Okay? With the 2020 Armor vest on, and put on game number 1. Okay? Game number 1 is unique. It's called the energy scoring game. Okay? And basically, when you start sparring with game number 1, and then you connect the app to it, and you get to see some very interesting things. Okay? So I'm going to show you how that would actually look. Okay? So you take the phone, you connect it to the vest, your partner connects as well. And the app shows you exactly how to do that. I won't go over those details right now. But what happens is this, okay? So once the phone is connected, okay, your match looks like this, okay? You start seeing data like your actual score, if a counter happened, if a critical hit happened, okay? That's very important insights to know, okay? And then after the match happens, we actually give you a log of when the hits happened and where in the timeline they happened. Okay, so it looks something like this. I'm going to show you in a second what that log looks like, and that log is going to be important because once you're able to see when things happen, that also tells you a lot about your fighting style. Okay, like if you, for example, only do things at the first 30 seconds or only do it at the last 30 seconds, right? That's insight that maybe you never knew before, or thought that you knew, but you couldn't really verify because you didn't have really any data behind it. Okay, so let me show you exactly what I mean by the timeline view. Okay, so when the match finishes, you get a result like this, right? You see when the first hit happened, you see, let's say, the red player did a critical hit of 10%, there's a 5% hit after, and right away they did another 5% and 3% hit, so it was a 3-hit combo, right? And then blue came back with a combo breaker, and then red did a counter. So you can kind of see exactly what's going on here, and again, these insights that you might have never had before, well, you never had before, I've never seen anything like this, and I've been in this space for a very long time. So again, all very important insights. And then so you can review that with your coach and see, well, am I not blocking very well? Or am I petering out near the end of the match versus the beginning of the match? Or I'm just not following up enough, right? So because you'll have the video analysis, because the app will, it will core the match for you and again overlay the data on top of it. And you can review that very easily yourself and with your coach. Okay, so we tell you exactly where the kicks happened, how many kicks, etc. Okay, so once you've done that, so in a month you've done your baseline of your physical, you've done some recordings of some matches, so you've done some tactical analysis. Now what do you do? Okay, so once you've seen some of that stuff, you'll be noticing some trends that you'll see. Okay. And then I'll put you to some resources to help you fix some of those things. So if you've noticed my reaction time isn't good, so first, for example, for some of the physical tactical stuff, our YouTube channel has some great content there. Okay, so you've seen some of our Saturday classes with World Break Number When You Get Young, and we've talked about different ways that you can improve your reaction time, stamina, power. So we have a YouTube channel that has playlists which specifically addresses those things. So we have one for reaction time, one for power, one for stamina. We'll have more for tactical. So it'll be a growing list. So that's going to be your first resource to start finding some content on how to improve some of those physical attributes. When it comes to some of the tactical stuff, so your, maybe your blocking or something like that, if you go to 2020armor.com/drills, we go through some of the different exercises you can do to improve, like, let's use blocking again as an example. So I'll go through one of those games here. It's called Game 9, which is survival, okay? And so let's say you found that in your tactical that your blocking just isn't very good. So you can play game number 9. Basically, the way that game works is you have 100% health. Your health bar show up. Then I just show you. Yeah. Okay. You open it up. The vest, turn it on. Put it on game number 9 here. Okay. There it is. There. Put it on. Pick your health settings appropriate for you, and let's play for 90 seconds. Okay. You push play, and this is kind of like a one-player energy scoring game. So your health bar goes all the way up. Okay. And as you get hit, the health keeps on decreasing. Okay. You see how it's decreasing there? Maybe you hit because it's kind of bright here. But every time I get hit, the energy bars go down. Okay, they're mirrored here. So the way you can help with blocking is you could wear this, okay, and then you have a partner or a coach hit you. Now, if it's a coach, they can hit you with like pool noodles, right? Something from a distance, and you would work undercover to make sure that you don't lose any of these lights. Okay? Or if you have someone kicking you, they can also kick you again, and you try to work on your blocking or your avoidance. And again, try to keep all your health, right? So at the end of the time, so I actually put it for 60 seconds, not 90 seconds. At the end of the time, you'll see how much health you have left. So maybe when you start working your block at the beginning, you're almost in the red because your blocking wasn't good or your movement wasn't good, and so you lost a lot of health. But then when you keep on practicing over and over and over again, then when the time finishes, maybe you're always still in the green, right? So now you're able to see, with clear visuals that you are improving or not improving, right? Which again is very, very important to see if we're heading in the right direction. Whereas before, the only way you know that is if you play the game, or if you played or if you had a match, and the results of the match would dictate if you're doing well or not. And at that point, you've already flown, paid for a hotel, and all those extra fees. So better to know that before you get into a game. Okay. So the drills section will keep on, all of these will always be updated with new content, so make sure you follow us on our YouTube channel. And for the drills, if you sign up for our newsletter on our website, if you go to 2020armor.com, there'll be a pop-up, or on the bottom there's a little field that says join our newsletter. We'll give you all the new drills. Okay, but if you've done all these things, or maybe you don't have access to a coach, you would like someone to walk you through this on a one-on-one basis, our athlete ambassador and certified coach can give you one-on-one coaching. Okay, if you go to 2020armor.com/HP, you can sign up for one-on-one coaching, and she can do all this stuff for you, customize it for you, establish that baseline, do a tactical analysis with you, find these trends, and then start giving you these exercises and stuff to improve. So basically all the stuff that we talked about, she'll walk you through it. Okay, so that is it for today. Let me just make sure I cover everything I want to talk about. Our drills, the blocking, yeah, that's about it. Okay, thanks everyone for your time. My name is Master Ali again, and hopefully that answers your question. When you get this vest, what do I do? Well, there you have it. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.